Alright, defending last, I think. So, defending last is actually kind of quick, I think. Really.
Yeah, it's something that can be summed up pretty quickly. I mean, generally, I guess. Well, let's talk about Uber disadvantage first. I think that'll probably be because, like, a lot of the time, if you have Uber disadvantage, you're probably just spamming second, assuming you've lost a couple players. You're just spamming, trying to buy as much time as you can and get Uber. After that, it's kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? A lot of the time, Sheep's gonna snipe because he's like core sniper, off-class scout. So, what I like to do is generally, I want to be on the opposite side of their Uber. Like, the one place that may cancel that out is pushing, if they push top. But even then, you can still kind of kite it a bit. So generally, a lot of teams love to push the right or their left with Uber advantage. Because it's easy access to the demo if he's going to be here, which a lot of demos like just sitting here like idiots because it's like, oh, I'm sticking in the door, I'm safe. So you can just Uber through there and kill him. Or, like, really, just depends what you want to do, but you want to try and be on the opposite side of where they are and not have too many people bunch up here. Ideally, you just want generally the pocket here, the demo kind of floating in between areas, and your scouts and roamer just kind of floating around, making sure they're not easy pickings. And as soon as you're on this side, like, you notice where they're coming from. Like, let's say it's like, oh, they're coming left, and you're on the left. You kind of just want to be jumping back towards the right side. You just want to make sure they have a lot of ground to cover. If you are standing forward in the position that they Uber out of, you're probably going to die and lose the round.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, the point is so open, and it does give you a pretty good opportunity to fall out and get your Uber up. And it's not even necessarily getting your Uber up, it's just not having to deal with theirs that's important. And with Uber advantage on Granary, most teams actually multi a fair bit on Granary, just because it is so open and it's like kind of easy to spam while you're falling out. So they're not going to have like a full 8-second Uber. Most likely they're going to have like, I don't know, maybe like a 5-second Uber, and they're going to be trying really hard to get on top of you and to kill you. Like, their roamer's going to jump, their demo's going to jump, maybe not. Their pocket, maybe not, but most likely will jump, and they'll have scouts rushing you. So you just want to like fall back, buy time, and look to get kills.
You don't want to fall back too far.
No.
If you just decide to fall back into the roller door, you're dead. Because that's going to get sticky. The other doors can get sticky, and that's going to be the end of that chapter.
Yeah.
So as I said, what I said earlier applies, like, especially if they multi. Like, it's really important to give them as much, like, have them, like, require them to cover as much ground as possible. Like, if you're on this right side here, then they're over there. It's going to take them like at least 2 or 3 seconds of at least walking, even with the scout, and that's half Uber. Especially if they're multing, like, they're just dumb. And then, meanwhile, you, like, say you got your roamer behind or up on the pipe or whatever. Just surround them and then just crush them because they've done absolutely nothing and they're committed.
Yeah, and so the other thing that you need to think about there is post-Uber. We talk about it every time we talk about last, but I think it's especially important on Granary. Don't target the medic. Like, you can kill the medic, sure, if he's like a free kill, but it's not, like, the medic is not more valuable after Uber on Granary last than their demo or their scouts. Like, or even honestly like a soldier that's too aggressive. Like, you're better off targeting their demo, targeting their scouts, killing their players that can kill you, and then worrying about the medic. Like, if the medic gets out, sure, it's kind of shitty, but you haven't lost the round. Whereas if you kill the medic and you commit to kill the medic, and then they kill your players and cap the point, you have lost the round. It's ridiculous. Like, the amount of teams and even the amount of players that we see, like, go on massive flanking trips or, like, you know, just commit everything to killing the medic is ridiculous. Like, it's just not worth it. I mean, obviously that doesn't mean never shoot the medic, but, like, as a general rule, yeah, don't shoot the medic after Uber. Unless your medic's down, then it might be worth it if you, like, trade one player for it so they don't have heal advantage, but that's getting too complicated, so we won't worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Equal Uber, you probably want to sit kind of forward, like... Yeah. Especially your roamer will probably like sit somewhere here, or your roamer will sit like inside here and like spam and then look to fall out, and you know, you want stickies up and stuff like that. But yeah, force a multi, that's the big thing. Force a multi, look to get a kill on the flank with equal Uber.
You don't want to be too passive.
No, like, because otherwise you're just like pretty much giving them too much free position. Like, if you sit back like you do with, like, the trade-off is Uber disadvantage, give them position in exchange for Uber. With equal Uber, that's obviously a bad trade because like you're not exchanging the Uber for that position at all. Like you have Uber, and now like you might have your pitched little Uber fight, but you're gonna have it really close to your point and really far away from there, like pretty much anywhere where you'll be safe, sort of thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, like it's like anything. Like it's like that what we were talking about before with yard and then second. Like you want to create that on last point. Like you want to create a situation where like you fight here with the Uber, and then you get out, ish, and then they have to come to you again, kind of thing, and you fight again, rather than just only having one fight, and that determines whether you win or lose the point. Is that it for Granary last? I guess player disadvantage, make sure you don't die. That's the big thing for player disadvantage. I mean, I know this is sort of like less in depth in a way than the other points, but that's because Gran last is like, really, it depends a lot on how well your players shoot things and how good they are at avoiding spam. Like, on Granary last, the worst thing you can do is die without trading. And ideally you want to be trading up as well, like you don't want to be making a kind of crummy trade. Like you can trade Roma for Roma, that's okay. But realistically, you're going to want to be getting 2 kills or something a lot more important than you, depending on what you guys still have alive. Is that it for defending Granary last, do you think, James?
Well, that's fine. I mean, like, you can spend hours talking about this, like any point, but it all just comes down to what your team really feels like. If they want to run utils, that's cool. Yeah. Like, Scout is really strong on this point, just because it's so open, so you don't really need to run utils.
Unless you, like, have a sniper and then switch out as soon as they use Uber.
Or if like you have, like, an extreme Uber disadvantage, you're probably going to run some sort of util. Like
a heavy or an NG.
Even I, like, sometimes just running NG, and, like, the rest of our scouts just do whatever, because, like, you can get caught out as a soldier and just die, so...
Yeah, or you're too low and then you're useless.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, alright, so last thing then, well, second last thing I guess, attacking. So, when you're attacking, I mean, I guess we kind of sort of just covered it-ish, but when you're attacking last, you're going to want some kind of advantage. We used to suicide, like we used to do like 4-man suicides, and we just leave the demo and the medic alive. I don't really think that's good anymore, like it's alright. It's like, that's kind of how like, BP played and stuff like that. But I think you're probably better off just like dry pushing, or like just pushing in with Uber and exchanging Ubers and then seeing what you can do with it. Or even suiciding one player, like suicide a scout if you have a really competent sniper or a spy, and then switch out there. Once you have that Uber, so once you have that advantage, so say you've got an Uber advantage, you really, like what I said before, you want to be multiing as much as you can. You want to be like getting in their face, and you want to be putting as much damage on as you can. At the same time as you're doing that, you probably want your Roma, if he's not jumping into them aggressively, or your scout, to get to the point. So you get on the point, because that's going to force them to come back from up there where they are and deal with you while the rest of your team's cutting them off. And Granary doesn't cap as fast as Badlands, but it's still a pretty fast last cap. And if they're not careful, like you can just spam them and dance around the point, and you can easily cap the point without them really being able to stop you, depending on where they're holding. You got a few kind of options with Uber advantage. You can either go through right or go through left. Neither of them is necessarily better. Like, it just depends on where the other team's holding, where they've got stickies, and honestly, like, where you think you can get the most done. Lots of teams do push left, like what James was saying, but I think, like, I don't really know if we push left as much as we push right, to be honest. Yeah. Like, we push left sometimes, but we're pretty strong, I think, pushing right and not popping out the door and, like, taking ground, and then, like, me coming in through top and just being an awful human and, like, jumping straight onto them back here with Uber advantage. And then them, like... Because if I do that jump just there and, like, shoot at their demo or their med or whatever it is, like, they're going to have to, like, be focusing on me. And our team now on right is now, like, all the way up here where I'm shooting now, or even here. And that's kind of big trouble for them, because we still haven't used Uber, or maybe we did use Uber back there. But either way, we've taken all that position basically for nothing, like, for my life, which... is worth, like, it is actually worth something on Granary last for a change, but, like, that's definitely worth it. The same thing really goes for left. Like, you want to do something similar, except on left, you're most likely going to be using earlier, and then, like, pushing across the point that way, and trying to get pressure on them, or jumping a player up onto here where I'm sitting now, or pretty much one of many things. The last option is through top, and this is something you do a lot actually, James. So do you want to talk a bit about top once you finish your mouthful of food?
No, I'm not eating, unfortunately. It's still on the bench, so I don't have time to get it from the steamer. But anyway, top, I mean, this is probably something that follows up after you taking stairs, but like, that may not always be the case. A lot of the time, you can kind of just go top, and a lot of teams just like sitting their combo up on this pipe here, and have players standing around, people are being loud in the background. This is just probably the quickest access out of them all if you just want to like Uber through the door and just get in their face. Because you look at it, like this is the exit here, whereas the exits for the other places are slightly back. That slight distance can be a difference between you having
and it's
a
also
Uber or not.
It's also being on equal or higher. Yeah, exactly.
So like you can just jump from here, like if you have Uber advantage especially, and just land on their head. You're probably going to get a kill, like probably on the pocket. Like I'm generally tunneling DM classes because just tunneling a medic is cool and all, but it's only something you really do if their other team, like if their team is like really passive. But even
or then, close to Uber, like if they're at 85% or something, you're going to want to go for the med. Yeah. But maybe not as a pocket. That's probably more like your roamer needs to deal with that shit in a scout or something. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, and like you're just going to be zerging players out here. Probably not zerging so much. Probably just going to be like a soldier and a scout. Or like soldier and demo or demo and whatever it may be, whatever your team's strengths and weaknesses are. You're just going to be looking to get damage in, and you just get really strong positioning. As we said, 1, you've got the high ground, 2, you're really far forward, and they're probably forced all the way back either into this corner or that corner, or they're just going to get munched by your players because they're just standing around. Like, you don't really want to spend too much time trying to tunnel their medic. As we said, it's not really that big a deal unless they're really close to Uber, then you probably want to. But a lot of the time, I'm going to be just jumping their combo, just try and get some good damage. If I get a kill, cool. But a lot of the time, teams will have a scout floating around generally this kind of area where I'm standing. If I see that while I'm here and I've got rockets loaded, I'm going to jump in, just, you know, rocket, single rocket, double rocket, and then just shotgun kill him. Because killing a scout is just so good on this map because it's so open. And just even getting any picks you can is just really good. Even a roamer that's just
up. And you're unlikely to die doing that as well as a pocket, because like your med can just drop down here and probably get beam on you from about here, and you should be fine. Like
the main thing is just get your team ground and just let them come out ideally scot-free and just follow in after you.
Yeah, a sneaky tip as well, and this is mostly for like the roamers out there, but in that kind of situation where we say don't focus the medic, it's actually still a really good tool, because most people are really afraid of losing their medic. Even if really losing your medic is better than losing your soldier or your demo, you still think it's worse. So if, as a roamer, you come out that door, you come out this door, and you know where their medic is, and you jump towards the medic but shoot at other things, they're more likely to panic and try and deal with you than if you jump like away from the medic. It's just like an interesting little piece of psychology, really, like the way that people play the game. Like, they're so afraid of losing their medic that as soon as they see a soldier jumping towards the medic, they're going to be expecting, like their med is probably calling, there's a soldier jumping me, there's a soldier jumping me, and they're going to turn around and try and deal with that shit because they equate losing the medic to losing the round. So that's just a little interesting thing. So with player advantage, it's a bit different. With player advantage, most likely the way you got that player advantage is either A, with a sniper, or like after a failed push, or B, with a like if you've just capped second and you're rushing into last. So in the case where you've capped second and you're rushing into last, exactly the same things apply as what we were just talking about. You probably go through top or through one of the sides. You look to get more kills. You don't have Uber this time, so you don't want to like overextend too much unless you're going to trade well. And really, like, every kill that you get, like, if they've got 4 players up and you've got 5 players up, if you trade, it's still favourable for your team.
Yeah.
Just because they're not going to be able to push back into you, but each time you get a kill, there's one less person to protect the point, and eventually, if you think about it, 4v3 might not be that scary, but 2v1 is scary, if that makes sense. Like, the less players you have, the more each player is worth.
I guess one of the best things to keep in mind is, with most advantages, you just want to push the opposite side of that demo, man. I mean, you can just you're just like, oh cool, yeah, we're gonna play advantage, let's just push. And if you decide to push left, which like 9 times out of 10, the other demo is gonna have it sticky, you can just lose a player right here, and that can just be your push shutdown, or it just slows you down enough for them to respawn, or they could even just crush you here if you're like overcommitting. So that's something really you want to consider. Just like try and think about where their demo man likes to stick and just go to the opposite side and just try and get as much ground as you can quickly. Look to get quick frags and eventually get the point.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's also important to say that with player advantage, like especially in the case where you're like capping, you probably want to leave your roamer capping and then like he'll jump up into top and then jump late. And you do want to think about that kind of thing. Player advantage, a problem that a lot of teams have, including us, is sometimes you look at tab and you see that you've got 6 players up and they've got 3 players up, but you don't actually have those players able to fight. Like they're not there able to respond immediately. They might be respawning and running back, or they may be on like capping a point, or just about anything. They may be too low. They may not have any ammo. That player is then like useless in the actual fight. Sure, they can come in later, but later is also when their team spawns, kind of thing. So you do want to be careful of that. I think that's really it for player advantage. Like, there's not much you can say. I guess the other thing you can say is if you get that, like, when you play last, don't be afraid to fall back out. It's the same with Badlands. Like, you don't have to, like, as soon as you step into last, it's not do or die. Like, you can fall out if it's not going well, or you can fall out if you, like, get a pick, but you want to, like, consolidate and then push from somewhere else or get heals.
Because it's hard for them to push into second. It's actually pretty hard, even if they've got a decent advantage. Just because it's such a small, choky area. Such a pain in the butt. And you can get back out easily as well with that.
Yeah, definitely, especially just through top. Soldiers jumping through top with Pain Train, super fun. So that's the last thing we're going to talk about now. Pushing into second. It's really difficult. It's kind of like Badlands, but not... I don't know, do you reckon it's not as difficult as Spire? Oh, no, I'd say it's more difficult than Spire, but there's less time constraint.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like it's more difficult to actually take that ground, but the thing is on Spire, like you can take the ground easily, but if you don't get the cap fast enough, yeah, you're gonna lose
it's
it.
It's a lot more open. Like Spire's a lot more open. You have that going with you. Like whereas last cap's quicker and second cap's quicker. Whereas second is just a big choke, and if you try and push and like overcommit, you can just get crushed here. And like the spawn is so close to here, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the best thing is like on Granary, for every piece, like honestly, every centimeter of ground that you take, you're fighting for it more than you're fighting on Badlands. But once you have it, if you haven't lost players, once you have it, it's also easier to hold. Because like it kind of becomes that sort of, like what we're talking about when we're talking about defending spot, like second. It's not that hard. It's only hard when you lose players. So it's hard to push off like a small player advantage on this point. Because say you've got 2 players on this point, they all respawn, and the respawn is literally like just here. Like, it takes no time at all to get back in. Exactly, which is different to Badlands. And it's weird that we say that it's got more, like less of a time constraint than Badlands because of that, but that's honestly just because it's actually, if you can take second on Granary, it's easier to hold it than it is to hold Spire, because it's choky. Most often, I think we go through top, to be honest. Or at least I go through top.
Well, that's if we have Uber advantage, I think, for the most part. I mean, because like a lot of the time teams are positioned up here with their combo, and like a lot of the time we'll be up here, not all the time. And I'll just be calling for a scout to come with us and just rush in through here and Uber and just try and catch them off. Like you want to cap this point because it's like a lot easier to hold this point and just slow them down. So like if you have to use Uber to cap the point, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You just gotta make sure you don't overcommit with Uber and then lose players as a result, which every team is guilty of.
Yeah. And, like, during that, same with Badlands, your roamer doesn't have to stay at last, but often you kind of will. Like, that's just how it works. Like, it's unfortunate, but yeah. And you want to make sure you check the doors, and you want to, like, kind of stagger your push. You don't need to all come in at the same time, especially with, like, an equal Uber. With player advantage, like what we said before, just be fast and prioritize capping that point. Because like obviously, while we said that it's not as important on Badlands is like to actually get time on the point. If you get caught out on this point and they've all spawned, it's hard to cap this point when they've spawned because they can easily open this door and spam you better than you can, and they can spam in through here just by poking. And if you've only got scouts on the point, you can be in big trouble. I think, I guess we should also say, it's... Oh, hang on, I've lost it. Okay, yeah. You have options, like, if they're falling back from a failed push. Like a lot of the time they'll be falling back from a failed push and you've got a player advantage, and it's not that like solid kind of like, you know, they're set up, they know they've got a bear down, but they're still trying to hold it. It's like they're scrambling backwards, and you've got scouts rushing in through here, you've got a soldier bombing in from the top and trying to get kills and stuff like that. You definitely want that to happen. Like wherever you can in second, like if they're falling back and they're scrambling and you've got a player advantage, don't be afraid to get aggressive. Don't overcommit, don't lose too many players, but if you lose like 1 or 2 players not that long after they lost 1 or 2 players, you'll be fine at last. Like, you'll be pretty fine.
Heavy is overpowered. Let's be honest. So I just like even if someone else isn't gonna do it, if I'm like spawning and everyone else is alive, a lot of the time I will go heavy just because it's such a strong class. If you trade Ubers and if you're a heavy, you don't take any damage, and if you come in at the tail end of the Uber with full health and ammo loaded, the other team's not going to be fully loaded, they're going to be pretty low on health, and you're just walking in here laughing while shooting, as the heavy does, and you just take ground slowly, and then you just whittle them down, and then they get sad.
And you've probably, that's when you've got like a roamer and a scout getting time on the point and forcing them to fight the heavy. Like they have to fight or they lose. Like, that's kind of the thing. I mean, heavy, that's not to say that heavy is better than pocket on last. I personally don't think it's better, I think it's just different.
Yeah.
Like, both are really effective, but I mean, yeah, sure, heavy.
Soldier's the more aggressive, like potential with aggressive, like option, like aggression rather. Heavy is more attrition based, we're gonna laugh at you, slowly take ground. Whereas pocket, a lot of times,
and it's
just
good
jumping forward, getting around.
And it's good when you've got a good sniper too.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if the rest of your team is capable of not just dying like idiots, then it can be really strong with a sniper, because you sit your sniper behind the heavy and, you know, they can't jump him, anything like that. And when sheep is the sniper, most likely they're all going to die, so that's nice.
Yeah, I'd say if the sandwich was still allowed, then heavy, I'd say would be, like,
better on just about every push.
Yeah, pretty much. But thank Christ it isn't, so... Yeah, it is just different play style, really. I just like going heavy just because my team's like, what are you doing on heavy?
Breaks it up. Yeah. And because we have a sniper, often, like, while we don't play slow, I think most teams would think we play fast, even with a sniper, like when we're actually pushing. Like, we don't have a problem with slowing the game down and giving him time to get shots, especially when it's like we don't have a massive advantage.
Yeah.
And yeah. Any other questions, do you think?
What are you wearing?
Nice. I've got a Parker on, and I've got a raccoon, and I got a hat with some hearts, and it's amazing. Alright. Yeah, I guess we can leave that there. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully, I guess it didn't end up being as short as we thought it would. Hopefully it's been useful again, the same as what we were saying with Badlands. Like, really, you do have to apply this to your own team. It's not a Bible. It's just a guide as to how we do things, and honestly, all we're trying to provide for you is, one, like the different options that you can do, and two, just like priorities. That's the big thing. Like, we're trying to like show how we think about the game.
Yeah, and help you develop your own understanding, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, everyone thinks differently. Like, I think differently to James, and like James and Sheep, they definitely think differently. And like it's just like that's the kind of thing that can cause tensions in a team, but it's also what gives a team depth. Like, you don't want to just have like only one way to do things, because then as soon as the teams that you're playing against work it out, you guys are going to struggle and you aren't really all that adaptable. So hopefully you've taken something from this. I mean, Granary isn't as popular of a map as it has been in the past, mostly just because it's honestly a lot of the problem with
tends to be the slower map.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, it's a slow map, but one of the biggest problems with it is lose mid, lose last. Like, it's either A, slow, or B, too fast. That's really the problem with Granary, but
yep.
For the time being, it's still around, and it's still like a staple feature, especially in Australian TF2. So yeah, as always, do leave us some feedback and some questions as well. About Granary or about whatever map we do next, which I think is Viaduct next. So if you've got questions about Viaduct, definitely post them up. Viaduct is going to be a tough one.
That's going to probably take us like 10 hours. No, not really.
It's probably going to be a long one too, because we love Viaduct. So yeah, ask questions. And yeah, cool. Thanks for tuning in. No goodbye, Banana Ramas.